there, everybody. Hope you are doing well. Just wanted to send you a little bit of encouragement tonight. Hey, as we were going through the last week of Jesus' life, I thought it might be a good idea to sort of slow down and take a look at the Last Supper in the book of John. So that's what I am doing. I'm going to start it with John chapter 13. In John chapter 13, it starts off and Jesus washes his disciples' feet. We all know the story. I think the thing that we miss, though, is how it starts. Now, check this out. It says, "Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come, that he should depart from this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. And supper being ended, the devil having already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, that he had come from God, and that he was going to God, rose from supper and laid aside his garments, took a towel and girded himself. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel with which he was girded." Now, did you guys catch that? It said, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, that he had come from God and was going to God. Jesus knew this. All things were in his hands, all authority, all might, all power. He was going to God. And I want to ask you, how would you use all authority, all power, all might? How would you, knowing the next day that you were going to God, spend your last night? This is Jesus. He spent it washing his disciples' feet. Now, why did he do that? I mean, isn't that a beautiful image? Here is the God of the universe washing the feet of men. Why did he do that? It says then at the end, he says, "If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you." Now, I want you guys to see this. He says later, "If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them." Now, I'll just encourage you. We have some significant stuff going on here. We've got people in need. We've got people struggling. According to the latest jobless figures, there's 22 million people filing unemployment benefits in the last 4 weeks. If you see people in need, help, right? Why do we help? It's because our Savior was more than willing to condescend and to wipe his disciples' feet. Even though he was the God of the universe, he was willing to take the place of a servant. He was willing to wash feet. Now, I'll just say, how can you serve others, especially those in the family of God? How can you serve people that you see in the church? I'll say there's people all over the world in need. There's people in Kenya who are in lockdown. They're wanting food. How can we help them? I'll just encourage you, pray about it. Try and figure out ways to help them, right? How can you do that? How can you help the people around you? Reach out to people who are lonely. Why do we do that? It's because our Savior gave us an example. He says, "If I have washed your feet, you ought to do this to others." He says, "If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them." Now, that's my encouragement for you today. Our Savior was willing to humble himself and serve others. Let's do likewise.